morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm so glad I worked with her because she said good morning. Everybody just stared at me. So everyone enjoying the Las Vegas real estate market?
Yeah.
Well, you wanted more listings and now you got them, right? Anyone want to take a guess what the median price has moved to?
42.
Wow. Some people read their emails.
486, I heard. It's going to go out today on the wire, Brandon. It's at $486,000. That's amazing. So that means that the average price has to be like $560, right, in the marketplace for that to happen. Let me tell you something else that's really kind of interesting. So the Southern Nevada marketplace makes up Pahrump, Mesquite, Laughlin, Las Vegas, Henderson, Boulder City, all those places. Have you guys checked the listing inventory in Pahrump? Not something you do on a regular basis? So the listing inventory on Pahrump is actually quite high. And so if we're looking at Southern Nevada at like 3,400 listings and a bunch of those are in Pahrump, we still have a pretty big shortage in the market area. So what I'm telling you is to make sure that you're checking the area that you're working to see if the inventory increase really has affected you at all, because I think more people are just moving from Pahrump. That's not funny. I've got a listing out there that the guy really has to sell. So let's go into some wants and needs. I want to thank Roya for sending an actual printed list. There's so many it fit on 2 pages. Congratulations. Anyone else have any that they'd like to add? Anybody? We already heard about your place in Summerlin.
Well, then you talk about it.
Patty's got a property in Summerlin she's really trying to sell. It's listed at 505. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with a pool. Feel free to just go out and hang out in the pool to see if you like the listing to sell it. Bonnie?
I've got 2. 5421 Nickel
Here, the
Creek.
people on the camera at home can't hear you.
Oh, Lordy. All right, 5421 Nickel Creek Trail, 89122. It's listed for 355, 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 1362 square feet. There's that one that just went on the market. Hold on, I'm getting the other one. I'm getting the information. I know, it's not like we have a meeting or anything. Hang tight. 11489 Snow Creek and in Red Rock Country Club. That one's 3.350. It is a beautiful custom home that's just been fully renovated top to bottom. The builder that redid it extended the home a little bit, extended the backyard a little bit. There's a beautiful pool, so on and so forth. Private showings.
3.35 million, is that what you said?
3.350, yes, nice.
Very cool. Anybody else? A want or a need?
I got one.
Adam has one.
Adam always has one.
I've got 11965 Port LaBelle coming back on the market, 5,600 square feet for 2.5 million, 6 bedroom, 5 bath, beautiful pool, looks like this.
Where?
I'm sorry, Southern Highlands.
Southern Highlands. Okay, so just a show of hands, this is just a poll of the audience. Has anyone gotten any texts about any insurance opportunities or any inventory opportunities? Anybody at all?
Has anyone not got insurance?
So Brandon and I went to the national convention and we're ending the convention tour, which was not that fun. And at the end of it, there's this lady, and on her tagline it says NAR Insurance Partner. So I went up and opted all of you out of her text list. So I'm just letting you know. But have you ever responded to the inventory one? Have you got that? Hey, do you have any off-market listings? The lights flickered. So I get that text every day, like all of you. And so finally, I got so irritated. You know, I didn't respond with anger, but I responded back, no, I don't have anything that you can flip, but do you have anything I can sell? And I thought, there's no way I'm going to get a response, right? This guy responded and said, here's 6 off-market properties that aren't on the MLS that you can feel free to write offers on. Wow. I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe it, right? All you have to do is ask and the opportunities are there. So I want you to take out your phone at some point today, and I want you to text those people that send you those crazy things, and I want you to text back and say, no, but I'd love to help you list a property or to see if you have any available inventory, and let's see if we can bug the hell out of them as much as they bug the hell out of us. Okay, so today we have some special guests. Oh yes, come on. And Denise is the first special guest.
You look so nice in blue and black.
So I actually have a client that sits on a new home site. Pulte, who bought America West, and he wanted me to tell you about a standing inventory home that's right here, brand new, 3-story. I believe it has a strip view off the rooftop deck. It is 2547 square feet, 4 bedroom, 3.5 bath. It has to close this month, but it's a 4% co-op. The price is $626. That's $246 a square foot. But I can tell you from my experience working with the builder, that's negotiable. They've got to close it this month. It's end of quarter. I bet you can get it for a lot less. I will leave some flyers in the back if anybody's interested. I have the trains attached to the back of it. Okay?
Where'd you say it was?
Right here in Buffalo and Wendell.
Nice.
4% co-op.
Give it up for Denise. Last couple of meetings, we've had some realtor champions in that were running for office, and we wanted to give you that opportunity to meet those political candidates. Today we have a realtor champion that is not a political candidate, but just a really nice guy. We have Dallas over here with Ground Up. Dallas is the spouse of a realtor, so let's give him a round of applause. So Dallas is an amazing home inspector. If you're looking, reach out to him. He'll be hanging around inspecting our meetings. Okay? And with that, I want to welcome up our amazing lender, Shelly with Prosperity, who's going to show us how to make wealth in real estate.
Go, okay.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. What? Happy Tuesday, everyone. This is better, right? Yeah? Can you guys hear me?
Is this an eye test?
Yeah, eye test. Can you see this or that? Okay. First of all, I wanted to ask, how many of you guys are feeling some concern about the market, worried about maybe some potential headwinds that are coming up? Anybody? Nobody? No? Awesome. Love it. How many of you guys want to have a blueprint or business plan to get you through the end of the year? Would love to see. Oh, you know where I'm going with this. Okay. All right. How many of you would love to have information about whether or not you should be setting up an LLC, whether you should be a sole proprietor, whether you should be a corporation, or what it looks like for a client who wants to build wealth in real estate and they want to perhaps get into a trust, or they perhaps pass and they need to figure out what to do as far as probate is concerned? How many of you would like more information on that? Yeah, maybe? What about crypto in real estate? How many of you would like, thank you, Barbara. One person wants to know about crypto in real estate too, and Patty. Awesome. What about social media? How many of you want to learn how to build your brand? Yes, okay. So what I'm talking about is you can learn all that and more at the Amplified event, which is June 9th. June 9th at the Dragon Ridge, is it country club, golf course? I don't know, country club. So it starts at 9 a.m. We will need your names to get you into the country club, beautiful country club and venue. If you guys are interested, the information is there. It is the Amplified event, which is the event of the year to help you get ready for to finish 2022 strong. Make sure you sign up. We are going to be closing registration, I think, today. You already signed up. Okay, awesome. How many of you have already signed up?
1 hour.
Me too? Okay, if you guys have any challenges with the link, let us know. But we hope to see you guys there. All of the speakers and everything that I just spoke about that may be your wants or needs, you will actually get at this event.
We only have one VIP ticket left.
What?
That's it.
$195. $49.99 for you, Adam, and then $195 for VIP. Our VIP is actually going to be a exclusive lunch with Satema and Chelsea. So it'll be a one-on-one. It'll be 1 on 10. I think we're only limiting it to 10 agents who will actually have the ability to talk about one important thing or one thing that you need help with to move your business forward for 2022. But don't worry, if you want to come in, general membership is also available, so you can get there at $49.99. Thursday, all day Thursday. You guys good with that? Okay.
Just 49.
49, sorry, not 99. Because that sounds better, right? Sorry, just down 99 cents, just today, get it today. Okay. So I wanted to share with you a conversation, some stories actually that I had with one of my clients recently. How many of you know what that means to build wealth in real estate? What does that mean to you guys? Patty?
Buying investment properties.
Buying investment properties. Build a portfolio, yeah. So I wanted to share with you, because for me on numbers, you guys know I like to geek out on numbers, and I like pictures too. So I'm going to show you my presentation of my pictures with my PowerPoint. Uh-oh. Or not work. We only got 30 minutes, right? Betamax! What did I do?
Oh, yeah, sit down and lie down.
Or Beta will click it for me. Sorry.
Yeah, there's the other
Okay,
one.
so,
Take a picture of your passport.
That's probably good enough.
does that work on here? Okay, so building wealth is investments, portfolio. How do you start with that? One property at a time. Exactly. Where did it go? Okay, so one property at a time. Okay. So I'm going to share with you guys a story of a client who actually started with me. What do you think that timeline is that a client will actually build their wealth in real estate? Is it 1 year? I mean, maybe last year, right? Because we had high appreciation. So some of our clients who purchased last year have some wealth. Would you agree? Do you consider just owning one home? Would you consider that building wealth? Would you consider this owning a portfolio? Somebody mentioned that. Building generational wealth? Yeah? All right, so I'm going to take you through that if my clicker would work for me. Okay. And here it is, trifecta real estate. What is this here? Have we seen some nice appreciation? Yeah. Do we typically see appreciation throughout the years? I know we all have PTSD from away. I personally am still working on that. But I've still seen appreciation since owning my home for 16 years, and I went through the crisis as well, right? What about principal reduction? As you make a rent payment, are you paying down on the principal reduction for your rent?
No, for your land, for
For your landlord, right? Yes, but if you own a home, you pay down on principal reduction for yourself, right? Would you guys agree on that? So as this goes up, this goes down, the loan balance goes down. And if you happen to rent the home, because as you mentioned, you're going to have multiple properties, at some point when you move on from your first home, you could rent it and then you have cash flow. Now, zero cash flow, is that still okay if you're breaking even?
Yeah.
Probably in today's market too with where our interest rates are, right? Because of our interest rates, mortgage payment might be a little bit higher, but are rents catching up to that? Will they continue to increase? How many of you believe rents will still increase? How many of you have heard of Renter Nation and feel like we're going to head into Renter Nation? Okay, I was checking to see my pulse. Okay, clicker. Thank you, sir. Okay, this is Bob, the builder. Single guy, decides he wants to come to me and he wants to purchase a home. He only has 3.5% down, so he's going to do an FHA mortgage. Again, keeping that same trifecta, although he doesn't have the cash flow yet, right? Because he's going to live in that property. 10 years ago, he buys this house, individual house. I'm not sure if that would have been a single solo, but that is the closest I could find on Canva as an individual bachelor pad. Okay? All right, Beta. I know this is hard to see in numbers, but what you see here, I put this out as an equity gain. Now you can actually get these if you have clients who really want to know what their equity position is going to be in a set amount of time. So 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, 15 years down the road, we can put this together for you. It shows forecasted for Las Vegas, but also historical information. So I'm super conservative, so I want to go with our historical data. So in this particular case, if this buyer owns this home, he hasn't rented it yet, right? He's just going to own the home and make the payments. He's going to have appreciation. And the historical appreciation in this particular case is 4%. Would you agree with that be 4% every year? I know we were all living in two years ago. It's been, the last 2 years has been what? LBR president says 20% in the last year appreciation. Is that normal? No. Would you say 4% is
Yes.
fair?
Yes.
Even if we dipped,
Yes.
right? Okay. So 10 years across the board, this says $223,000, $694, which includes the down payment. So in 10 years, that is what he's expected to appreciate along with a gain based off of appreciation at 4% and buying down his principal loan, right? His loan balance. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, clicker, sir. Beta. Okay, so he's like, you know what? I'm living a new life. I got tired of my bachelor pad. I kind of want to upgrade because I might actually want to start dating somebody. So he upgrades his home. Okay, it's a prettier house, right? So a couple years into it, he decides, I'm going to buy a house. He saved up enough money. He's going to put 5% down. Okay? Because he can do that. He was originally FHA. He's still going to occupy this as primary residence, so he's going to put 5% down. Now, he's going to keep, instead of selling his house, he's actually going to keep that home as a rental. So he now has the trifecta, right? Because he has cash flow. Again, you guys all agreed, it doesn't matter as long as it's positive at $0 or $1, that's okay to be considered cash flow, correct? All right. So he gets this, go ahead and hit to the next slide. In this particular case, these numbers will mean something to you at the end, but $176,000, sorry, is what he would earn in 8 years. So he's bought this house at year 2. He's lived in the first house 2 years, year 3. He's going to remain in here for another 8 years to take him 10 years. We're going to look at a 10-year span for our client. And he's going to earn $176,000 and $114 for that. And he's also going to net zero on his other house because who's paying that mortgage? The renter. Okay, Beta, one more time. Okay, his third home, he now gets a girlfriend. We're not sure if he's married. You said wife. You want to say wife? We'll say wife. Okay.
No, because you lose half.
2-car garage, 3-car garage. Okay, and you notice the sales prices, right? $450,000. So that's average here, right? Is that median average for Las Vegas?
Yeah.
So because he's now buying a home with his girlfriend or wife or whatever we want to call her, he can still put down 5% because they're going to buy it together. They're going to move in and it's owner occupied. What happens to the other home? Rented. He could sell it, but would you rent it or would you sell it? If it cash flows, would you rent it? Rent it. Okay. So they're still in their trifecta. Okay, Beta, one more time. Sorry, Beta, I know there's more. All right, so in this particular case, for this home, this is going to be $126,000 that he's going to earn, and I'm forecasting this over a period of 5 years because I'm going to show you what this looks like for him 10 years down the road, right? Starting with his one home that he bought 5 years ago. So his 5-year forecast based off of equity appreciation and principal reduction is going to be $126,000. Beta, one more time. All right. So they were married, or maybe they weren't married, but they had babies. A baby. Is that okay, Adam? Okay. Lived in that home 2 years. Okay, you guys hearing me on capital gains? 2 years. They lived in that home 2 years. They're now moving into their 4th home. And this is where they are. That is a bigger home. That looks like a place that you could raise a family in. So they're going to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and click. They're putting, again, 5% down because this is now, they've grown in size, right? They're now having a child and they need more space. So this could be deemed as a primary residence and they're increasing their sales price. Go ahead, Beta, sorry. So in this particular case, because I'm only forecasting 3 years because we're going to now be at 10 years and 3 years from now. Does that make sense, everybody? So $104,000 is going to be what their appreciation is going to be, shorter period of time, and obviously principal reduction, shorter period of time. And oh, by the way, these all were based off of a rate of 6.25%. Okay, so cash flow on it is going to be really, for me, maybe $0 or $1. Okay, go ahead and click to the next slide. All right, so this is what it looks like. So when I looked at 10 years from the day that he bought his first home to this last home, his total loan balances or equity position on those based off of what his loan amounts were and what the, again, 4% appreciation over that 10-year period on every single property, is his equity position of $651,000. He put in, remember, this client put in minimum down payment of 3.5% to 5%. Total down payment, and I included $10,000 in closing costs every transaction, is $127,250. So when you do rate of return, you take your profits over what you outlay, right? You guys, okay, you with me on that? All right. So I added $100 cash flow based off of the years that they were in there. Ultimately, this rate of return is 527%. So how many of you guys believe that that we have an important job for our clients? This was actually a client of mine who came to me and said, hey, this is my idea. I actually am an advocate of this when people say, I want to sell my house. And listen, I will listen to what my clients want, but I definitely throw this exact example out because when my daughter goes away to college, it's important for her to know that this is building her generational wealth. For me, 10 years down the road for today, if I were to start this today, I would do this exact same thing, right? Even in our current environment, because remember, those sales prices weren't like 100,000, right? They were still in our current environment today. Any questions at all on this? Am I good on time? You good? Okay. One more thing. Okay. Any questions? No. You guys feel like, did I go a little too geeky on you? A little too much? Okay. All right. Too much? Adam, sorry. I put characters on there for you. Go to the next one. All right. So would you prefer this or this? You wanted it to be what? This or this? Either one is still good, right? Because you want our clients to own a home, but if they can't put themselves in a position to build their portfolio, that would be a great way to do it. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, next one. Sorry, one last one. Sorry. All right. Here's our 10-year plan. Go ahead. Sorry, one more, Beta. I told them I was going to run this. So, would you have told them to sell their homes? Or would you have told them to stick with it? Depends on where they're at. Would you have told them that, imagine if they took that $672,000 and they pulled equity out of that property at 75%. Do you know how much money that would be for them? Like $460,000. What could they do with $460,000?
One good night in Vegas.
One good night, really good night in Vegas. Could they go and buy another investment property? Could they start up a business? Could they put their kids to college? Yeah. All right, next one. This leads into my kids and cogs. I don't know who this guy is, but so he did actually call. He had just had twins. Okay. You awake yet? Okay. All right. He wanted to buy 2 investment properties because he had just had twins. So he does that. And I said, well, that's kind of crazy. What do you want to use it for? He's like, well, I want this to be their inheritance, or I want this to be their college fund. Go ahead and hit the next slide. 15 years I amortized. This is just one property. He pulled his money from his 401k, which was about $200,000. He used it for purchasing of a home, right? So he was able to, the payments go through his paychecks and such. But the cash flow on this, because it was cash, actually reimbursed him plus gave him additional funds. He was able to earn $400,000 on one property in 15 years. Do you think that would help your child or your twins get into college? Or maybe a bang up wedding for one or the other? $400,000? I would love that for my 2 weddings that I have. All right, so this was one other example. Any questions on this? What do you guys see? What are you guys hearing?
More deals.
More deals. But can you see the difference in just saying, hey, we're just buying a house? You're not just buying a house. You're not just getting a payment. You're building wealth in real estate, and we are advocates of that. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Any questions for me? That's all I got. Happy Tuesday.
Thank you. Hey! So, good stuff. By the way, that is a way to build transactions for the future, right? Every client has a possibility of 6, 7 deals. You got a few hundred clients. That's a sustainable business. It'd be really cool. All right, so this is a very exciting day for me because, believe it or not, I've been here 3.5 years, and I was not the first bishop that worked with Signature. Amy Bishop actually was. And so, welcome up Amy Bishop from A to Z Transactions. Go right ahead. So, I've been waiting for this day for so long. I get to grill her with questions. All right. So, and I got to go home tonight. So I guess we'll take off this. Okay. So first off, many people don't know you like I do. So tell them where you're from.
Seattle?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm originally from Seattle, but I've been in Vegas for 25 years.
Nice. Nice. We'll talk about your husband in a minute. So, why did you come to Las Vegas?
That's a good answer. I actually came here with my ex-husband.
Oh!
And he moved back to Washington, and I stayed here with our kids.
So, okay.
I got home.
Great stuff. Great stuff. This is good stuff. So, Amy, how did you get into the real estate industry?
My ex-mother-in-law got me a job at Stewart Title, and I was there 3 years and hated it. Thought realtors were lazy, so I was going to go over to this side, and that's how I got started. Escrow coordination, listing coordination. That's pretty much it.
So you got into the real estate industry, you were an escrow, and then you moved into the residential real estate side for a real estate company. What did you do for those real estate companies?
I started out just as a listing coordinator. All I did was listings, input, ordering signs, anything that had to do with the listing for the first probably 1.5 years. And then I got moved to escrow coordinator, met my mother-in-law first.
Boo.
And so I don't know, we ran probably 100 transactions a month. Back then, paper files, nothing was online. So
Okay, how many years total did you say you've been in the real estate industry? Was it 25? Gosh.
You just like hearing me say that.
Okay, so 25 years in the real estate business and escrow, and yeah, I was 10. And she was the best English teacher I had in high school. These are the jokes, folks. Why did you start a transaction coordination company? What kind of led you through that path?
Well, we both worked together at another real estate company. He was leaving to go run a different real estate company, and I don't know, I decided I needed to be home with our child, who was probably 4 or 5, whatever, somewhere in there. And so I started working with just a couple of agents. I had 5 agents, and I was happy if I closed 5 deals a month. And then I've been very slow to get it to where we're at today.
When was that? 2013?
Yeah.
So about 9 years ago?
Yeah.
How long it's gone by. What does A to Z Transactions look like? Tell us what the company looks like. How is it set up? Who are the people? All that good
Okay, so there's a team of 6. Lindsay, most of you know.
stuff. Hi, Lindsay.
She handles all of anything to do with money, commission orders, that kind of thing.
Hi, Lindsay.
I'm related to half of the people that I employ. My mom works for me, before you talk to her. So I've kind of departmentalized it. I have people that handle just home warranties, HOA documents, that's kind of her department. Brittany, my oldest, has been with me the longest. She's been a TC for about 15 years, so she kind of jumps in when I'm out of town. By the way, I'll be out of town tomorrow through Saturday. And so she moves things through for me.
So it sounds like you've set your team up more like an escrow unit where you have administrative staff that handle specific tasks. So why did you do that? I mean, why not have everyone just sitting in the fishbowl?
That's a really, well, because I have trouble letting go of control is how it all started. So I like to run everything.
This is more like Dr. Phil than an interview.
Yeah. But it's just kind of work. We're a work in progress all the time, changing. Agents like to do things differently. Each agent works differently. It just works better to have certain people doing certain tasks. I still touch every file we have, but I have a great team behind me doing all of the work. So it's not Amy, it's all of them.
So you said that when you started out, you were hoping you had a few agents, you had 5 deals a month. What does it look like now? How many agents are you working with?
I think we have 175-ish. Yes.
Okay, pretty substantial group. And how many transactions are you guys doing a month?
Well, I would like to close 150 a month. I think we're averaging about 110 to 120.
Okay. And why is it, I mean, this is a big question we get all the time from anyone looking for a TC. Is your TC's license, real estate license? Why are you guys not licensed?
Because we work with multiple brokerages, so I can't have a license and have it hanging at signature, but work with agents at Realty One or Coldwell Banker or wherever. We just stay that.
So because you couldn't put your license disclosures in another broker's
Correct.
file?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. Tell us about the service. I mean, so first off, why would I ever want a transaction? I'm not saying this. I definitely want one. But why would an agent ever want a transaction coordinator? In my opinion, to help the flow of the process, there are jobs that the agents still have to do. We're not going to show property. We're not going to go to the house. There's agent items, but when you have disclosures that need to be signed, or HOA documents that need to go to your client, or home warranties to be ordered, if we're doing all of those tasks, you're able to go out and prospect, list, and sell, and get us more files. So that's pretty much why. So on a listing side, tell us a typical listing process, what we can expect from AZ.
Well, in a perfect world, you let me know ahead of time that you've got a listing coming up. I help you prepare the paperwork based on the information that you're providing to me. These days, so much is digital, so we can send it out for signatures. It comes back. Once it comes back, then we can help you with the input. Lizette is my shining star on this one. She gives me a data sheet. Most of you do not fill those out, but that's okay. We figure it out.
She's talking to me.
So we can help you order pictures, or if you get pictures, we, just send them to us, upload, sign installs, home warranties, if you do listing coverage, change orders, any of that kind of stuff.
The other thing that I think is really important is that, with so many companies and company systems and understanding how they work, that's always been something in my brain space I don't want to fill. You handle all that, right? You handle all the internal document systems for compliance?
Yes. I will come to you for help if we have trouble. Sometimes we have trouble getting people to sign things.
I was hoping the seat was available, but I knew it wasn't. You took it.
I did. Yes, so we work closely. Signature is probably the easiest company that we work with because we have direct contact to all of the brokers, and staff are great to work with, so it makes it a lot easier to kind of go through the process.
Okay, so let's talk about a buyer side. How do you help me on a buyer transaction?
Okay, I don't write purchase agreements. I just don't. I cannot write a purchase agreement. I can, but I'm not going to. But if you write it yourself, I've had a lot of times where you fill everything out and then you say, can you send this out for signatures? I've got to run out to an appointment. We can do that. We can help with counter offers. Of course, you're going to your client, getting the terms, giving that to me. Anything that we send out for signatures, we'll CC ourselves back unless you say, let me be the one to send this over to the other side. And then once we get an acceptance, then we're introducing to everybody. We'll get as involved as you let us get involved. So lenders, dealing with Shelly's office is probably my easiest because they know me, and so we have a good, that's right, we have good communication there. And then just keeping me in the loop the whole way, I can help all the way. We set up timelines for all your dates. We have internal timelines for the staff.
You set up reminders for us.
We do. And some of you listen to them.
She's talking to me again, not you.
That was one of us.
Okay, so one of the things that I find is really interesting is, number one, I mean, many of us, when a new technology comes out, we freak out, we have to learn it. I mean, some of us are still pissed off about Remind, Mr. Board President, I'm just putting that out there. But, it's here to stay, right? And so what I love is that her entire staff is trained on all of these systems. She's putting them through that so that they know it, so that when you're struggling to get a deal together and you want to just deal with the client, the buyer, and the seller, you have a great resource that will figure out those day-to-day pieces that kind of take up all your time. Here at Signature, we have our Signature app. Everyone here is on the Signature app, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, we know who you are and we'll find you later. Tell us how you use that in the business with Signature agents to make it more cool.
I mean, there's a few of you that use it pretty religiously. I keep it open all day long, just like it's a text. A lot of people just will text me, so I keep that open. If ever I don't respond in there, email is where my staff is all at, so they are always they can be in my email after hours. But other than that, it's quicker, it's a text chat, it's right there. I can throw documents in there, say, did you see this? And it's a quick communication. Tasks, to-do lists.
So I'm going to tell you what this has done for me, because I can't, I'm running the meeting. So on the buyer side, let me just give you a kind of an inside look at the way my buyer transactions have gone since I started working with A to Z when I married TC. So because of the Signature app, I start a communication channel. I open a group chat with my team manager, my operations manager, my transaction coordinator, and the buyer. And in that chat, I let them know this is the Signature app, all of the information that we're going to go through in this transaction, anything that's special or important will go right here in this place. And that we're keeping it here because instead of worrying about an email, we're worrying about a text that no one will be able to find. You ever have a client lose one of your emails and say, hey, can you resend that to me? And you can't find where it's at, right? That has all gone away. And so I start that conversation, and Amy actually stays in that chat the entire time it happens. Where other people, like my team manager or my operations manager, may be pulled in and out of the conversation without disrupting the flow of information. And I think that's huge, because if you just send someone an email or a text, You ever gotten in a text chain or an email chain where there's things in the chain that everyone shouldn't know? I've seen that actually happen, and so things can go back and forth that way. But what I do is I let Amy know in that chain, hey, I'm going to be meeting with this buyer. I actually have the meeting in the chat. So you can click the Zoom feature, you can go right into a Zoom meeting with your buyer and explain to them all the things that's going to be happen. You can explain to them who everybody is. And then what I like to do is, with my buyers, I let Amy know, hey, I have a buyer set up, I need a buyer-broker agreement ready to go. She will actually create that agreement, send it in the chat for me to look at, and then I'll say, yeah, that's perfect, will you send it out for signature? And after I have that meeting with my buyer, she sends everything out to be signed and then stores it back in our file management system. One of the other things that's really been cool is, you ever send buyer properties, but they don't know how to get back to the MLS search section, and they always want to email you in there and you can't always get the emails? I take those properties once they're sent out and I put them into the chat so that they're always archived in the file section, so that they can always go back and see the properties I've shared with them. Any disclosures or things like that, when I want to let them know that Amy's going to be sending something out, I go into the app and I say, hey, listen, my transaction coordinator is going to be sending you some information to sign. Here's what it is. Call me if you have any questions or problems. All of that is logged there because I'm responsible to the real estate division to keep a communication log. I know all of us are doing that on the file, so that if anything goes wrong, I can show the jury of my peers, the commissioners, that I was communicating with my client and sharing with them all that info. What's really cool that you've done for me on the listing side is, have you ever tried to send someone photos on a listing? Is that fun or what? Right? The file's too big, the file's too small, there's not enough photos, there's too many. The app actually stores all of that. So all I do is I take and I drag it from my file on my camera, I drag it right over to the signature app, and I log it in that file system. And those photos are there for her to get anytime she wants on any of the listing uploads, so it's that easy. Make sense? Any questions on the signature app and how to use it in that process, or what I just said?
How do you drag it from your phone?
Yeah, okay, so this is really cool. So I have the signature app open on my desktop on my computer, and I also have text in my phone where I get photos and things like that. I can, if you have it on your phone with the signature app, you can actually copy it directly from your text right to the app, and in the reverse. I can take it out of the signature app and copy it directly to text, and I don't have to worry about finding it in an email address. That has changed my life, actually, because it was a pain in the butt to ever download photos and to zip them into a folder. I didn't even know what zip means when it happens, right? But when I have the thing open on my desktop, in the MLS now, so like you can upload 50 files, right? 50 photos for the file. Amy can actually take those out of that drive once I drop them and drag them into the MLS setup so that they'll upload, and she makes them pretty and special and organizes them and everything else.
I'll make them pretty, they come that way. But I do organize.
That's right, they do. So talk about coordination. So you said a few times, like, I've got this great home inspector over here. How do you help me through the process with him, and the process with my camera guy, and the process with my home warranty? How do you do that?
They respond super fast, so if you guys are looking for anyone that responds, good inspections, they're quick. And it's just a quick email, I send that over, I need information from you to be able to do that, buyer contact, and then mainly days and times. But we work back and forth and get that set up. So once he comes back or his staff comes back and says, we have this available, then we're going to the listing agent saying, does this work? And that's pretty much, and we'll set up escrow appointments too. A lot of people like to do it themselves. We try to cater a little bit to each agent on how you like to run your business. It's all on my services list, but if you don't want me to do that part, then I just stay out of it.
So we've talked about all of the things that you will do. Let's talk about a few of the things that you won't do and why. And so one of the ones you mentioned is you won't write purchase agreements. Why?
Liability, there's a lot of fields in a purchase agreement. A listing agreement, I can give you a quick template that you come back and give me exactly what needs to go in there. We're filling those out and going. An RPA just has way too many.
And you're not licensed.
And I'm not licensed. Time restrictions, you guys need that stuff done right away. It's, I can't guarantee that I can do that right then.
Why won't you talk to my client?
I'm not licensed.
Good answer. So a non-licensed transaction coordinator cannot talk to your client. They can't communicate with them, they can't get them info, they can't provide them advice, they can't give them life advice, they can't email them information that doesn't come from you because you are the real estate agent with the license providing them the service of representation. She is an administrative supporter for your business, right? She owns a company that provides task services so that you can do better business. And so
for instance, if we get HOA documents, I can send those over. I've started removing my contact information because the buyers call and they want me to explain, or they want me to explain why I'm collecting money for the HOA. So I will always refer them back to the agent, and you're always copied on all of that.
So things you can't do, of course. What are things that you see agents do that they not shouldn't, but should be better prepared for? What are some things that you would give them advice to you know, like you mentioned that Lizette fills out a data form to provide a better.
Well, I'm not going to everybody doesn't have to do that. It is a very lengthy form, a cumbersome form, but if you fill something out like that, you're the one seeing the property, you're the one that knows the information, and the more information you give us, the better your listing's going to be filled in. Purchase agreements, I see all the time, a counteroffer come over, you're not sending the purchase agreement with it. Purchase agreement's supposed to be subject to the counter, those types of things, you know, but I'll always go back and say, you know, maybe we should have done it this way. You can always tell me to mind my own business as well, but that's how those things are supposed to be done.
So, you know, couples talk about business, and my wife and I actually don't, because I'm doing this and she's doing that, and that'd be a hell of a conversation to have every day, right? But one of the things that she shared with me is that throughout the industry, she sees that a lot of agents don't prepare their clients for the fact they have to purchase HOA packages, right? And HOA packages have gone from being $100 or free to several $100 per package with rush fees. And so you actually mentioned that you saw it.
So per HOA, you're going to have an upfront package cost, a demand cost. I always tell everybody to ballpark it $180 to $200 per item. If they have multiple associations, they're going to have 2 items per HOA. And that's why I started taking my contact information out, because when I'm sending leads, they're coming back saying, my realtor didn't tell me this. And so I have to, you know, engage you again. So it's always better if they know that up front when you're taking those leads.
One of the other things I've done, I don't know if it's good or bad or indifferent, but you've also been kind of a buffer. You've been a buffer through the transaction of someone she's my bulldog, by the way. If you want to get a transaction closed, stick Amy on them, because she's been able to go and kind of weed through the BS at different parts of the transaction because you guys follow up. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's been a learning curve. We always, you know, there's a new thing that we have to start following up on is solar. I hadn't even thought about it before. So we're always trying to improve our services. It depends on how much you engage me. If you go and do half the transaction and don't engage me, then, you know, I should be copied on every single email, because then I know exactly where, if you send me a text, oh my God, I need you to follow up with this, then I know where we're at in the process. So the more you engage me, the better I can help you with follow-ups. The timeline reminders that we do, that's just so that you can, you know, if you have a problem that we're going to need an extension, you just ask me to draft those different types of links.
All right, let's get to the nitty-gritty. I mean, this all sounds great. It all sounds good. How much do it cost?
Oh, do it.
$350 per closed file.
Holy.
So $350. What is there a listing fee and a buyer fee?
No. So it's one fee across the board. We've always kept it that way. New home is the same amount. I know there's less work to do.
Well, not for you.
No, I still have to do the same amount of disclosures. So we've just always kept it the same fee. That way I can not charge upfront or cancellation fees.
So you don't charge an upfront deposit fee?
No.
What if the deal cancels?
And I'm an independent contractor just like you are, so I don't get paid.
That sucks. Well, I mean, what if I sell it multiple times, like 3 or 4 times?
Like me.
Adam didn't have this condo.
Still just one fee. I do not get paid until you guys get paid.
Okay. Wow. So who here? Huh? Yeah. So how is the fee collected? It's collected by signature from your closing,
Yeah.
and then you get paid from the company,
Yep.
but they pay it out of their.
They make it very easy. They take it on when your commission comes in, and and then I just invoice them and they pay me.
That's cool. Who here is using A to Z transactions? Wow. Talk about packing the room. Nice job. Amy. Anybody have
I call
anything
it
nice
a-
to say? Ellie?
I actually do. I will tell you this, Heidi. I started using Amy when my business really started taking off maybe 7 years ago or so. Because I thought, I was bogged down with all this paperwork. I'm not good at anything. That was causing more trouble for myself than it was worth. Forget about the time it was taking away from my business. I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to hand it over to Amy. I don't worry about a thing. She handles everything. It's the best $350 I could spend. I highly recommend you use her. It's just made my life so much easier, and I just focus on how I make money, selling real estate. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
And I used her right at the beginning, right when I went on my own, and then actually hired.
I used Amy right at the beginning when I went on my own, and then I left her and had my own TC for 7 or 8 months, and then I came back a couple years ago. And she loves me. I'm her favorite client.
I do.
She's made out of the man he is today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I've thought many times, oh, I'll just train my own TC. Hell no. Because working with Amy is so seamless. The other thing I really do value is the expertise and the relationship to Chris, because I feel like, maybe this is overstepping her bounds, but I've said to her, hey, can you ask Chris? Because I know he's like right there, right? So like, am I allowed to do this, right? Like, so that is, I think, just the whole integration that we have. We're so fortunate to have at Signature. I think is really huge. It's a huge plus for my business as well.
Has it helped anyone do more business?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tyson, you want to say something?
Oh, probably not as nice as Ellie was saying, but yeah, like when I first started, spent way too much time
That was
on
$50. How much?
spent way too much time on my files and figuring out the paperwork, and then when I hired her, it was just like, now I don't need to worry about that. I can just focus on getting more business. So.
Very cool. Margaret?
I think having, if you don't have a TC, I honestly don't know how you do real estate, because every year the forms just become more and more complex. And I mean, there's just so much that goes on that having a TC is just part of doing good business. It would be just like having an assistant in any other kind of business. But Amy knows that if I didn't have her, I literally could not do real estate. So she takes care of everything.
And I think there's something interesting that you just proved a cool point on, and that's also the cost of the deal, right? You just closed an amazing $3.5 million deal, and it's still the same fee. And so it doesn't matter for her, it's the same set of circumstances and documents regardless of what the price is. So on something like that, I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer. It makes perfect sense.
We just want to say that lenders, they're big purchases of ours, and we know that Amy's got it. We know that deal is going to be the easiest deal ever. Like, I've done several deals with Amy over the years, and they just crush.
So Jason said that as a lender, that when he sees Amy on the file with another agent, it's made it easier. I'm going to tell you that there are a lot of bishops in real estate, and that's the only one everybody likes. No kidding. We were out on the thing the other day, and we were at an event, and this gal comes up to me, and she goes, oh, I'm so-and-so, what's your name? And I said, oh, my name's Chris Bishop. She goes, are you related to Amy Bishop? I said, since marriage. So it's just kind of cool. You get out there in the business. Brandon, we're going to quiz you for a second. So I want to get your perspective of this because Brandon was actually the first person that Amy approached when she really launched her service to brokerages, right? She had kind of been piecing together agents and that kind of thing. And Brandon stepped up to the bat and said, I need this for my company. And I guess the question to you is, why? Give me your microphone.
You're not done yet. You're doing great.
So, if you've been with us a long time, you know we had hired transaction coordinators. At one point, we had 2 at the company, and they did great. But the problem is they move on, and when they move on, it creates more headache for me having to replace them and keep up with all of your files and the responsibility it puts on the brokerage to have to do that. Well, when they came up and I talked to Amy, and I found out that I no longer had to manage the hiring and firing of transaction coordinators and overseeing that took a big thing off my plate. It was almost a no-brainer. The other thing is when we pay a transaction coordinator, we gave them a salary, and we got to keep the transaction coordinator fee that you guys pay her. But it seems like almost always that number came out to exactly what we paid that transaction coordinator, without fail. And so it really wasn't this big profit center, it was more of a headache for me. And so by being able to give that off to them, it's been awesome. The other thing is I know when a transaction is being handled by an agent with a transaction coordinator like Amy, because we see other transaction coordinators too, we don't have to worry. It's an extra set of eyes on our closing process, and it helps get you guys paid faster and helps us process files faster in the office. So
now that I have you both here with microphones, I'm going to try to talk a little bit louder just so everyone can hear. From your perspective, what are you seeing happen in the marketplace with files? Because we always get the agent perspective and we get this board president perspective. What do you see as an administrative person in our industry? What are you seeing happening?
A lot of delays on closings. We probably had, of our 100 and odd files last month, we spent the bulk of, month end is usually busy getting closings done. We spent a lot of time doing extensions into June. So there's a lot of that, a lot of cancellations. Our percentages of cancellations have been super high the last couple months, but we don't lose the files completely. The buyer's just either moving from property to the next property, or we get those back. We started tracking that this year.
So let's talk about that, because I want you to understand this perspective. This is something they're not telling you about the marketplace.
Right.
We see 3,300 listings, and we've seen the same number of sales every single month that has continued on in one variation or another. But what I'm hearing from administrative is that these cancellations of these sales are happening at the end of the months. So they become a sale the following month, right? So we're really not getting rid of this inventory like we think we are, because transactions are extending out. I mean, they're not closing on time. And so some of these numbers we're seeing are not as factual as we lead them to believe. Probably like 20% of those closing numbers aren't really sales that will happen. And so that's why you got to look at actual sales to see what that number is as well.
So I used to coach Amy, which gave me the pleasure to talk to her on a weekly basis. And a lot of the coaching calls, almost, I would ask her these questions. I would ask her, what's happening in the market? What are you seeing? I'm seeing a lot of cancellations. What is it that's the cancellations? Well, it's inspections, or it's just people finding different properties, or whatever it is. It gave me an insight on what's actually happening before it was happening, before the statistics show it. So she's a great resource for that too. And you guys see that too. If you're selling a lot of property or you're out there, you start to see things before the market starts to reflect it. And the numbers you're seeing that are put out, so in fact, I'm doing the stats video today. All the numbers for May got released to the news outlets this morning, or yesterday morning. And so you're seeing all these news broadcasts and stuff are going to start coming on the stats. That's all last month, right? Everything else is changing. This is real time. And what you guys are seeing is real time. So that's valuable information.
So I've asked all the questions that I could drill her. Let's give her a round of applause for that. Believe it or not, Amy hates to publicly speak about anything. Didn't she do a great job? Thank God she's leaving on a trip tomorrow morning. Please, any questions that you have for Amy about her service, about transaction coordination, anything at all that you'd like to ask her?
I think it's just one thing. I know that when I came in as a new agent, I really appreciate the fact that you took the time. So I was like, how do you want me to provide you the best that I can so that you can give me your best? And you took that time to do it for me. And I appreciate it because it made my life way easier.
And I appreciate that you listened.
I want to highlight one thing to that. And so I think there's a massive difference in our industry between a transaction coordination and an administrative assistant, right? And I think that the two do not mesh well together in my personal, humble real estate industry opinion. Not that that matters to anybody, but here's what I've seen. I see a lot of agents try to take an assistant and make them a transaction coordinator. And why did I need the assistant to begin with? I need it for all of the stuff that I can't get to, the administrative stuff, the marketing, the client communications to get them out, the letters, the emails, the whole cyclone of things that are happening. By having a transaction coordination, I'm able to actually departmentalize a part of my business for a monetary fee. Think about that. I don't have to hire her staff of 6. I just hire the company, and for a set fee, they're going to do all of these services, which I could never get employing one individual. Now that I have these services done, now I go out and I hire this other individual to help me create business and to make me a better real estate agent. Does that make sense? That's why I see this as a no-brainer when I go out and look at it. It's not like, I wouldn't hire Dallas as a home inspector to go build the house, because that's not what he does, right? He goes over and he can walk into a house and see something wrong right away. Not in every listing, sometimes they're clean. But the whole point is, that's his skill, and that's what he does that makes that really easy to deal with.
But he would build it for you.
Yes, he would.
Do that.
2 weeks. Anybody have any questions?
I'd have some more advice though.
Yeah.
Many of you hire transaction coordinators, and I hear this all the time. Well, if they didn't do this, they didn't do that. And so you just jump off and you go a different direction. There's a process to get to know how each other work. And if it's not going the way you think it should go, then have a conversation so you guys can either come to a common ground that you understand each other's expectations, or you know that you need to part ways. But don't just fly up the handle. I see realtors do that so much with lenders, with escrow officers, with everybody. Really just have the true conversation, because these people, inspectors, everybody, can be part of your team and really help you sell and do much more business and take a lot of stress off.
Yeah, that's the truth.
But yeah, it's been 2 years trying to get her up here, so you better have some questions.
She won't be back for another 2 years.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Amy, do you have like any agent that you're like, this person does things amazing, and like, we should like copy them?
Hi, Chris.
Who are they? Where do we find them? And it doesn't have to be a signature, obviously.
You know, I have a couple of agents that are bigger teams. I use them as examples a lot of the time, that have assistants, and they have departmentalized. They use us for TC. I work more with their assistants than I do. You have an assistant. She's on everything. So it's easier sometimes dealing with another administrative personality versus a realtor. But
I don't know how to take that.
you're the worst.
But I'm on the inside.
But I feel like now we finally have a group of, it's taken a long time to notice that I don't have to work with every single agent. And I feel like we have a good group of all 175, like there's no one, when I get their email, do I want to throw up? So, it's, I don't know, we have a good group. And everybody works differently. There isn't one person in here that works the same as the next.
I'm going to tell you something that's been really cool. A lot of you have come to Brandon and I and Tom and Janet and said, hey, I have this broker issue. Can you help us with it? And we've known the broker on the other side because we've served with them at the board or whatever. What's really kind of cool for Amy is that she's been there for all of that, all of our events. She goes with us to these conventions and things like that. I've had transactions where the only reason, and this is true, the only reason my offer got accepted was because the other agent and the other agent's team had worked with Amy, and they liked her, and they said, absolutely, she's on the file, we'd love to have it, and we'll tell our client about that. Now, right, wrong, or indifferent, I sell things for a living, and so that's a pretty cool thing to have happen, right? And so for me, it was the fact that a lot of the escrow people, and there's Ashley back there, a lot of the escrow people in the marketplace love to work with Amy's company because they're on so many files and they're dealing with it. And so that fact for me was huge, and it helped get us a leg up on some transactions.
But that is one thing, you can copy me when you're submitting offers. Not everybody does. I'll chime in, especially if I know the other side or their TC or whatever. Sometimes it doesn't mean anything, but you know, if they see a team that they're, you know, that they might like already, then, you know, that helps a little bit.
Okay. Anything else? What have we missed? Good stuff? Interesting info? Tom's here. Hey, Tom. Tom is getting ready to take his position as state president, and so we're going to see him more and more. He's on videos, he's on marketing pieces. I mean, this is the face of the state realtor right here, right? It's good to have a team that we do, for sure. A couple of other updates just for you guys for the sake of information. Brandon and I were able to yesterday get a detailed list of all of the construction updates for our northwest location. There's walls up, there's chalk lines down the middle, there's all of these things that are happening. And so if you haven't been here to Spanish Ridge to check out the new floor plan and reserve your office, please do if you're interested. We have about 18 offices left, I believe, for rent. We have the downtown office that is staffed and open for you to go and enjoy and hang out if you're downtown. After 6 o'clock, I don't think they'll be there, but you can always go by. Yeah, and definitely check that out. It's really cool. It's on 10th Street. It's an older property that was converted to an office space. It's very eclectic, very cool. Check it out. And if you guys need anything at all, Todd is actually on vacation as you're in the Green Valley office. And so myself and Patty and Keith Lynham and Brandon and everybody are covering for him. So if you're in that office and you need anything, please just give us a phone call and reach out. We'd love to help you. Other than that, make it a great day and thank you for being here.